Coach, you are riding now a 3-game winning streak, and you face a Brevard team this week that comes off of a tough loss to North Greenville, but 2 weeks removed from a 559-yard rushing output against Southern Virginia. What challenges do the Tornadoes pose with that option offense?
Well, they're very dangerous. They're very capable, and anytime you rush for 569 yards, something, against Lady Goose Elementary School, that's pretty doggone good. And they did it against the college football team. They rushed for a bunch of yardage against Tusculum. And so, they're capable. There's no question. So I think they're up there in the top 10 in the nation, I think, in rushing offense. And, we'll have to play well. We'll have to play assignment football. It's an option, and they mix the option with a great counter game. And so we'll have to play disciplined football, and we'll have to play in a way that gives us a chance to win.
Who do you key in on? Because they've got 7 guys who have at least 100 yards rushing this season, but all those 7 guys don't have more than 350. So how do you figure out who's getting the football?
Well, most of the time when you're playing assignment football, you don't key on people, you key on assignments. And, it's every who's got to dive, every who's got the quarterback, and every who's got the pitch has to do that. And so you're not saying I got Joe and I got Sam and I got, and so, it's a matter of just playing assignment football in such a way that you don't give up big plays. And it's quite a challenge, especially when you see some of the blocking schemes that they have with it. And Paul Hamilton's an excellent football coach, and he's been running the option for a long, long time. And he's done it at every level, Division I, he's very capable, and he'll have a scheme that probably some wrinkles that we haven't seen all year, and they'll play us tough, no question.
How do you keep your kids even keel on the straight and narrow after 3 straight weeks of pretty resounding success?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, I'd sleep a whole lot better at night. We just have to trust each other that we haven't arrived. All we got to do is look at video, if we're honest, and see that that we're not as good as we want to be, and that we still got a whole lot of room for improvement, and we've still got a lot of work to do. And so hopefully, if we're realistic and not making claims to fame that we shouldn't be making, then we ought to be fine with that.
Billy Muscatello for their defense.
Good football player.
80 tackles in the middle linebacker spot. What does he do to be a good football player?
Well, he's got a nose for the ball, and he can run. He played safety for him last year, so they moved him from safety to the inside linebacker. And, not many people can make that move. And so, we realize that, and it's not just him. They got 5 guys that were all conference, preseason all conference. They're lining up and doing a really good job. And so we got to play good football.
Brandon Haywood had incompletions his first 5 passes. What do you do in the second quarter to get back on track and get back to the consistent level we normally see out of Brandon?
Well, I think he quit rushing it a little bit. He was pressing some early on, and it wasn't just a passing game. It was with the running game, too. He was doing a little bit of pressing. And it was the worst game of the year, according to him. He didn't grade it out that bad, but according to him, he was very frustrated with himself. And Brandon's the kind of people that he'll correct and get it done eventually. And that's what he did, I think, the second half with the passing game. He corrected and made some things happen that he was excited about the second half. He was very frustrated at halftime, very excited second half.
The ball was on the turf a lot during that game. What was the 6 fumbles Carson had, but still recovered every one. Has ball security been a major concern this week?
Well, anytime you throw that oval thing on the ground and hope it bounces back to you, that's not good odds. And it happened every time for us, that it hit the ground and bounced back to us. And And the 3 or 4 times it was just, lack of concentration of the pitch hitting us right in the hands, and we dropped it, and yes, that is a concern, and that's something that I'm sure that we'll hear about a little bit this week.
How do things work out with fall break? Kids get a little more time this weekend. How can they use that to their advantage?
Well, hopefully to change the pace just a little bit to where, you don't have to go to class and you don't have to be someplace every minute of the day. And so Monday was a change-up day without any question. And Tuesday, of course, a little bit of heavier practice on Tuesday and trying to catch up for some of the things maybe that we didn't do as much as we needed to on Monday. And so it's an adjustment that hopefully our maturity can adjust with it.
You brought talking about ball security. What else is there to improve upon from the UNCP game?
Well, just overall execution. We missed several tackles. We missed. We gave up 2 long plays on defense. Thank goodness one of them was called back. But good defensive football teams don't give up 80-yard plays or 70-yard plays. And that's something that we've got to make sure that we secure a little bit better than we're doing now.
Had that play stood, that would have been the first 80-yard play you've given up in a decade and a half since 1995.
Really? Well, I'm glad you told me so I can have something to say again today.
When you think about Brevard and their
95, is that what you said?
95 against Elon.
95, 2005, so that's 17 years.
What's Brevard? Can you compare their triple option to Lenore Ryan's? How is it different? How is it similar?
Well, of course, different personnel, of course, and a little bit different approach on Brevard gets in a shotgun and throw it, and Lenore Ryan didn't do that much, and so. But Brevard has got 2 or 3 excellent receivers. Eric Watts has been an all-conference player for 2 straight years and caught 2 on us last year, one for a touchdown, the other one down to the 3-yard line. And so he's a very dangerous, very capable receiver. It's I call it a tricky passing game, because they'll trick you into thinking it's run and they'll be throwing it over your head.
Kurt Duncan, past 2 weeks on kickoffs, has pinned teams inside the 20 on average. How big is that?
Well, that's huge. He's kicking it far and he's kicking it high, which gives us time to cover it. And then about half the time he's kicking it so deep in the end zone they can't return it. Of course, the new rule brings that out to the 25, but it's a great weapon to have a guy like that the team a lot of times is starting down there inside the 25-yard line, and that's it's 1% of success for every yard. So there's a 75% chance of failure if they're starting at the 25-yard line before they get it to the other end zone. So we like those odds.
When it gets to this time of the year, obviously coaches are keeping up on what's going on around the conference and also around the region. Do you feel like the players have an idea of what some of these games mean coming down the stretch?
Well, with the instant messaging that nowadays, I'm sure all of them know exactly what's going on. If not, we'll be sure to tell them. And also give the whole story. They've done a tremendous job working to get themselves in the position that they're in right now, but that can change overnight. That can change in one ball game, and so you got to realize that there's a great plus side and there's also a minus side. Do you think the other teams are going to be a little bit more excited about playing against a team that is ranked as high as we're ranked now? Sure they are. And because there's 3 weeks of a whole lot of shuffling is going to happen in the next 3 weeks in the standings.
How does faith help keep players even keeled and things like that, when those shuffles are going to occur?
Well, I think it's like everything else. You got to live life without conditions. Okay, I don't feel good today, so I'm going to do whatever I want to do today. Or because so and so did this, and I'm going to do that. Or because I deserve to go to the playoffs without playing real hard. All those kinds of things is it's not faith, it's stupidity. And there's a big difference between faith and stupidity. I think a lot of times we have faith in faith. We think if we believe something a certain way, or because it's me believing it, that means it's going to happen. I call that faith in faith. And faith in faith don't work. Faith in Almighty, faith in God, faith in that works itself out into action. Faith without works is dead, according to James, and I think he probably knew what he was talking about. And so I think, let me correct that, I know he knew what he was talking about because he's under the power of the Holy Spirit when he wrote that. So I think it's a matter of just working out our faith and not expecting entitlement or false, the false blessings is what I call them, things that you think is going to happen without working for it.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Okay.